But your girl is back. Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. Hasn't it been like 10 years since I made a video? It's really only been a month. I had a little break from recording for I feel like a few different reasons. I work a full-time job now. I work 8.5 hours a day, and I work in the peak of everyone's day. I work the worst possible hours you could work. When it was cold outside, I was like, okay, I can do this. We're in the pandemic, da-da-da-da-da. Now they're talking about vaccines and it's getting warmer, but it's okay. I'm gonna work my job, I'm gonna do my time, and I'm gonna catch y'all at the party, or I'll catch y'all at brunch. Anywho, aside from working a full-time job and trying to get adjusted to that type of schedule and getting my mindset right to do that every day, I also have this random cloud of anxiety that casted over me in the month of February, and it was not letting up. So it was physically impossible for me to record anything. I was extremely lethargic. I was self-conscious. I didn't feel like doing anything remotely related to YouTube. I would have the idea and then I'm like, nah, I don't think I'm gonna record a video. Nah, I'm gonna wait. And after a certain point, I just said, you know what? No recording this month. Get your mind right this month. And we'll try again in March. And here it is March, and we're trying again, and we're back, and we are better. I want to give a special shout out to all of my subscribers. I reached 300 subscribers back in, I don't remember what month, but I did get to reach 300, and I want to thank everybody who has supported me, everyone who contributed to this amazingness that I know as my YouTube subbies. Thank you guys, thank you. Thank you. If you don't know, now you know that I'm trying to reach 500. We got to 3, now it's time to make it to 5 so I can get to 1,000, so I can get monetized. People, please, don't you think I deserve a check? You don't have to answer that, because I think I deserve a check. I do YouTube as a hobby, but I want to make it a hobby that makes some money, because working a full-time job sucks anyway. Very grateful to have a full-time job. Let's make that clear. Just because I'm grateful for it doesn't mean I have to be in love with it. Anyway, the last thing I will do before this video starts, I'm going to show you this cute mocha set I got from a company called Bare Basics. It's Black owned. She's a beautiful girl, beautiful body from Miami, and she sells basic clothing. As you can see, this mixed mocha set is 2 different sets of brown. I also got another set from there, and it'll probably be in another video. I'm gonna get up and change into the other set, but I'm so excited to do this video that I can't do that. So today's video is going to be about mental health. The purpose of my channel is to be relatable, and point blank period, that is the purpose. I think I'm a relatable person. I go through different struggles as a Black person, as a woman, as a Black woman. So the motto or phrase for my channel, I guess I could say, is Black Girl Reality. This essentially is my reality. This is my everyday life. These are my stories. This is how life affects me, and I know that things that happen in my life someone else could relate to or someone else could learn from. So talking about anxiety, depression, and coping mechanisms, they will each be broken down into their own little section. Without further ado, let's dive right in. Anxiety is something I have dealt with for a very, very long time. I want to say the first time I started to have anxiety, I was about 10 years old. As a young girl, I was very extroverted, very out there, bossy, sassy, all of the above. But for some reason, as I got older, I feel like I became more reserved, more quiet, more shy, things like that. So by the time I got to middle school, I was switching schools. I didn't know anybody pretty much going to the school, so I was pretty nervous, and it made me retract my personality. I just kind of took a 180. I went from being really out there to being really closed off, really quiet, and things like that. I was so quiet, the kids on my bus nicknamed me Silence. That's how quiet I was. I just wasn't comfortable, so talking to people just wasn't about to happen, you know? It wasn't about to be all up in your face. I don't really know you. Riding the bus in general just gave me a lot of social anxiety because people on the bus were just not very nice. So it was a different ballgame once I actually got into school, but the bus always gave me anxiety, and that bus ride was literally like 5 minutes. But that was at my first middle school. I ended up switching middle schools and had a completely different experience. I was still able to make friends. I was still able to not necessarily be popular, but I got to meet people because I would eventually go to high school with these people. So I was able to talk to people eventually. It just took me a lot of time to warm up to people. Speaking of talking to people, talking to boys was literally like not a thing. Boys could make me break into sweat just looking at me.
This is so humiliating!
And now that I'm a grown woman and I know that they're stupid, that doesn't happen. But as a preteen, teenager, boys just made me extremely nervous. I hope all these airplanes are not messing up this video. I live near the airport, if you can't tell, so sorry. Oh, excuse me. That's the positivity brewing in my body. Boys made my anxiety spike until like maybe college or late high school is when boys stopped making me so nervous and I was able to have more fluent and comfortable conversations with people. But anxiety is something that's been with me for a very long time. Even as I went into college, it's something that's lessened as I've gotten older in the social aspect, because social anxiety was the biggest thing I had for a very long time. It's decreased by a lot, but it's definitely still there. I still have social anxiety. I remember trying to go to class late one day, and the class itself, the room is small, but the class is full of people. And I could see through the crack of the door that people were right next to the door, and everybody is facing the door. So I literally walked past the class and sat in a little hallway contemplating if I was going to walk into this room full of people who would be staring at me. And on one end, I'm like, if you don't get your in that class, go to class, stupid silly girl. Ain't nobody paying attention to you. But on the other side, she was like, girl, you better not walk in that damn class, man. Everybody gonna be looking at you. Everybody gonna see everything about you. They're gonna look you up and down. They're gonna be judging you. They're gonna be seeing right through your soul. That's how I felt. And I did not go to class that day. Anxiety will literally cripple me, and I can't do anything. I can't do anything. Another thing is, for me, back when I was a stoner, smoking would increase my anxiety so badly, and I realized it's dependent upon the strain, but nobody ever knew the strain they had when I was using the marijuanacals. So there would be times where I'd be really chill, really comfortable, but a lot of time I would have extreme anxiety. I would be with my friends and I would be with my boyfriend, and I'm just having all these thoughts going through my head, all these thoughts. Oh my God, I'm being such a bitch. Oh my God, no one really likes me. I don't really feel comfortable here. No one wants me here. I go into a spiral sometimes, which is why if I ever did, after a certain point, I started to do things like that by myself, because my anxiety is a lot easier to control when I'm alone. Leave myself into a depressing spiral. It's never good. My anxiety eats away at me. She is mean. She tells me that no one likes me. She tells me that I can't do anything and things that I'm doing are stupid. It comes and goes. So there are certain videos on my channel that I continuously will make private and make it public, because I will have these moments of anxiousness where I want to delete it, but I won't, because I'm not going to piss myself off like that. I've deleted my entire feed off of Instagram probably twice before because of anxiety. Just telling me, like, you're saying way too much. Delete all this shit.
Delete all that shit! Delete all that shit!
It can get real crazy up in here. But I make it look good, don't I? I know. Anxiety is one of those things that probably will never go away from me, and I've come to terms with that. But my process has not been linear by far. No one's process is. And I had a bit of a low last month, which is why I was MIA. I was barely posting on my socials. Like, you can kind of tell when I'm going through it. As of recently, I have been using social media less in general, but if I'm just not on here at all, I'm probably going through it. And I think I'm about to like take a social media break anyway, and just kind of focus on my goals and where I want to be in the next couple of months, where I want to be in the next 3 months, what I want this year, things like that. I really just want to hone in on the things that I want, so because I want them and actually have them. You feel me? But yeah, that's anxiety in a nutshell for me. Yes. Next. Now we're gonna talk about depression. Depression for me is a lot different from my anxiety. Anxiety is something I feel lives with me. Depression is somebody that come and visit every once in a while. Like, hey, girl, I saw you was happy over here. Now you're not. I didn't really know what depression was until I was about 21 years old. I was depressed probably for 2 years straight, and I didn't even know. I feel like I was really just going through the motions of life, and different aspects of my life were contributing to why I had depression. I don't know what originally started it or anything, but from 2017 to 2018, I was depressed, and there were a lot of contributing factors to that. And I didn't know I was depressed until I was out of the depression. And the only way I knew that I went through depression was because I lost 25 pounds in 2 months. I wasn't exercising at all. I eat like shit. So it literally made no sense for me to lose 25 pounds in 2 months. A very long time I was 125, and that started about high school, that 120-125 range. It wasn't until my junior year when my weight spiked 25 pounds to 145 because my boyfriend at the time was feeding me like a guinea pig. But yeah, he stuffed me like a turkey, so I gained 25 pounds. And in that time, I was in a unfulfilling relationship. We just didn't have the same needs, and at the same time he wasn't willing to accommodate my needs, so that was a hell of a letdown. A really close family member of mine passed, and then the next year I had a close friend of mine pass. He got murdered, and I was living in a roach infested apartment. I'm still with this dude who don't give me what I need. It just wasn't a good time. So in the first half of my depression, I feel like I gained mad weight. And I don't necessarily know if I gained weight because I was depressed. I think I just gained weight because I was eating a lot. And I was eating a lot of bad food every single day. Because I think we would eat out every single day. And although that's still a little bit of my norm, I don't eat that much. I can eat once a day and be okay. Completely fine. I can eat twice in a day and be completely fine. But with this dude, we was eating 3 times a day, and we would usually eat out, baby. We would cook together sometimes, but that was very rare. We ate out a ton. We ate a lot of Sonic. We ate a lot of Sonic and Waffle House. Was depressed about being quote unquote fat. I wasn't fat, y'all, because I'm 145 now, and I love my weight. I think I look chef's kiss. But coming from 125 to 145, when I've never weighed over 125 pounds, it was an extreme for me. I was extremely uncomfortable. None of my clothes fit. I felt like a fat pig. I felt disgusting. And I was going to the gym. It wasn't coming off because I was still eating Cheetos and Sonic. So that in itself made me depressed. And I feel like the only friend I had at school who I actually would hang out with was spending a lot of time with her love life, so I just really felt alone if I wasn't. I had a boyfriend at the time, so I didn't feel completely alone. I was dating at the time was just essentially emotionally unavailable, and a lot of our relationship, I feel like I spent it trying to please him and he wasn't really giving me feedback, so that in itself would send me in a spiral. I'm like, this guy says he like enjoys me, but he don't really show it. He doesn't give me what I want, and what I want, I feel like I'm not asking for a lot. So that played a lot on my self-esteem too. I just never felt like I was enough, and that's something I'll talk about in a different video about my codependency and attachment styles. You have to put on my notifications. Put on my notifications so you can know what I'm talking about. Talk. Yes. But yes, being a codependent partner, a lot of my self-esteem is based off of my partner, and I'm stepping out of that realm, okay? I'm stepping out of that because that's not cute. That's not cute. I'm not doing that anymore, but never felt like I was good enough for my partner because he could never follow through with the things that I needed. So put on two significant deaths and some roaches and no sleep from that bitch. Oh baby, I was sad, but mostly sleep deprived. In the first half of my depression, I was just kind of low energy. In the second half, I was low energy, I was sleepy, and I wasn't eating because I lived in a roach-infested apartment. And that made me feel like nothing in that bitch was sanitary. So the only time I could eat is when I ate out. Not eating like that because my apartment was essentially disgusting. And we did get out of that apartment, but we got out of that apartment 2 months into the semester. You know, the semester ain't that damn long. So by the time I get out of this apartment, it's already, if it hadn't already been midterms were coming up, and my grades were in the toilet. Most of my grades were in the toilet, and I had an F. I finished that semester with 3 Fs. It was rough. That was a rough semester. I went to the doctor in October, and in October I was still 145. So by the time I went back to the doctor in January, I was 125. But I saw the weight loss when I went home for winter break. I was like, dang, none of my pants fit like, I was putting on these shorts that I usually wear, and they were sliding off of me, and I'm like, when did I lose weight? Oh yeah, when you get up that relationship weight coming off of me, y'all. Girl, you was depressed. That's the weight that's coming off of you. That's depression, baby. I was literally eating probably once a day. There were some days where I didn't eat. I would just be like, okay, I'll just eat tomorrow. Because I would have that stink of an appetite, and I would fucking ignore it and lay in bed all day and smoke weed all day. After class, my regimen would be go home, smoke, go to sleep. I might find some time to do some homework, smoke again, go back to sleep. Completely cut myself off from people, or just really secluded. I was just really, I had no energy. I had no energy to do anything. I felt like I had so much to prepare with my grades. I was really disappointed. I was really sad because a bitch was just trying to get out of there. Okay, college took such a fucking hit on my mental health. Anxiety, depression, I pretty much experienced 5 years straight. Constant fucking stress. Not to say don't go, because degrees get money. Hey, that's what they like to tell you anyway. This goes to say that depression doesn't have one look. I feel like with commercials and just media and things like that, they make depression look like you're super duper sad. Everything makes you sad. No, it's overworking. It's not working at all. It's sleeping all day. It's isolating yourself, being irritable. But people usually don't irritate you. Last but not least, we will be talking about coping mechanisms. Before I dive too deeply into this, if you have any history of self-harm and this is not something that you're ready to hear about or talk about or anything of that nature, I would go ahead and put a timestamp to where you can skip to, or you can just exit out of this video because I wouldn't want to trigger anybody at all in that kind of way. I wasn't raised in a, most emotionally supportive environment, so at a very young age, I associated suppressing my emotions with how I was supposed to deal with them. They were never properly nourished and nurtured. I was made fun of if I expressed emotion, or they were just kind of minimized a lot. So expressing emotion was not something that I liked to do. I didn't like to be vulnerable. These are all things I've had to gradually grow out of, and now I feel like I'm repairing a lot of things, just trying to unlearn different things. So yeah, expressing emotion was never something that I was taught to do. When it came time to deal with difficult emotions, I didn't know what to do. Didn't know what to do with difficult emotions, and I didn't know how to handle being emotionally overwhelmed. For the first time, I was about 11, is when I self-harmed. I basically was copying the people around me. This is the time when being emo was really popular, so it was on the emo wave. But it started off as a trend, which was more about fashion than the actual self-mutilation. That's just something that was a part of it. And it took on a world of its own. It became how I dealt with difficult emotions. Continued to do that when I felt emotionally overwhelmed. It wasn't something I did for fun, be like, oh, this is too much emotionally. Well, let me go do this and take my mind off of it. And it would happen for about a year, and then I stopped because I switched schools, different environment, different people, and that wasn't acceptable at that school. So, you know, you gotta fit in, baby. If you don't want to be an outcast. I didn't take up again until I was about 15, and then again at 17 and 18, and the last time I had self-harmed was 2 years ago in March of 2019. I was coming back from my Kenya trip, and I found out that my first love, Tamon Blair, was murdered, and I literally found this out right when I landed in the States, so it was very, very fucking overwhelming. And that day I didn't do anything, but the next day I did, because I had this damn group project that nobody worked on. I was in Kenya for 2 weeks, and nobody worked on this group project. So when I was presented with the bullshit that they wanted to turn in, I literally did everything by myself. And I was up doing everything by myself, and I still had to go to a full thing of classes. I was taking 24 credit hours. I was on it, and I was bound to crash. I was totally bound to crash. I had 3 mental breakdowns at school, which is not normal for me at all. My school only had 2 people at the time for counseling, which is definitely not enough for an entire. We have like 3,000 students. I have a small school, but that 2 people for 3,000 students. Come on now. And the person I wanted to talk to wasn't available that day. The guy that they tried to send me to for a little bit, he just didn't make me feel comfortable. I didn't feel like I could talk to him. So I decided to schedule an appointment. The appointment wasn't for another week. So I went home with all this built up emotion, and my best friend at the time came, and she supported me for as long as she could, and she was 30 minutes away. It was just like, I got wine drunk, and I got in my head, and it happened, and it hadn't happened in a while, and it's the last time it ever has happened, because I went to counseling and we talked about it, and she just, really challenged me and made me make a promise to myself to deal with my emotions in a more healthy way. She made me think of 3 different ways I could deal with overwhelming emotions, uncomfortable emotions, and I've been sticking to that ever since, because that isn't a healthy coping mechanism at all. It's very detrimental to your health, and like I said, this is something I've been doing since I was in middle school, so some of my scars are permanent, and they don't go away. They just heal, and they stick out like a sore thumb. That was one way I decided to cope with my emotions, and I don't do that anymore. How do I cope with my emotions now? I do practice meditation. Meditation has really helped me through some of my lower days, and I meditate even when I'm feeling great. It's just something good to do. It's good to take a moment to just really focus on your breath and relax and try not to think about everything at once. My good friend had bought me a adult coloring book to help, just take some stress off. Yoga is a good way. I do like to practice yoga. Journaling has probably been the number one way that I've been able to release those emotions. In this journal, it's a mixture of YouTube ideas and journals. That's what's in this bad boy. And we're almost done, like, look how much I have left. I'm so proud. I'm a journal fanatic, and I will buy a journal just to buy it. I love journals. But yeah, I journal a lot. Back before Corona, back when I was in school, I was part of something called the Smile Campaign, and we would meet, I want to say, every Sunday. And at these events, it would just be different topics, and we would have healing circles. That's what it was called, a healing circle. And that was just a place where you and a small group of people, you talk about the hard things that you don't want to talk about, and you were just able to get things off of your chest. And every healing circle had a different, I want to say, topic. So yeah, that was extremely beneficial for me. And YouTube is a perfect outlet. It's why I have a YouTube, because I like to talk. Contrary to belief, I like to talk, but I like to talk to myself. But I'm only talking to myself right now, because once you watch this, I'll be talking to you. You see what I did there? Finding healthy coping mechanisms is extremely important, even if you haven't dealt with things like self-harm. Because excessive drinking, excessive drug use, you know who I'm talking to, puff puff pass. Don't think that it's harmless when you don't even realize. Every time I get stressed out, I gotta go smoke a joint. Every time I get stressed out, I have to drink a whole bottle of wine. I need a Nick stick. This, that, and the third. Finding healthy coping mechanisms to make it through your day, to make it through stress, is extremely important, because health is wealth, baby. I want to say that is all for this video. Thank you all so much for tuning in always. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on my notifications so you can know when I make the next one. Remember, I'm trying to get to 500, so tell your friends, tell your mama, your sister, your cousin, your brother, your daddy, all of them. Just bring them in. Thank you guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, you guys.